Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Peachy and this channel is all about my Sylvanian families collection. For my big winter scene this year, I made some scarves, capes and shawls for my Sylvanians. You can see some examples here on my lovely models. These were really simple to make and didn't require any sewing, so I thought I'd film a little tutorial for how I made them in case you wanted to make some for your Sylvanians. All you'll need is a pen, ruler, some felt and a pair of scissors. So let's get started. So I've gathered the bits and pieces I'll need together now. There's 3 different sizes of scarf, there's 3 different sizes of cape, and then there's only one size I made of the shawl. So let's start with the shawl as that's based on an existing piece of Sylvanian clothing. So this is the shawl that the grandmother figures wear and some of the older Tommy and Flair characters. And what I've done is basically just use this as a pattern. So I take this off. You can see it's quite crudely done as well, but once it's on the figure it looks quite effective. So here you can see it's a little bit bent out of shape where her arm's been up. But essentially all you do is take your piece of felt, lie this flat, cut around it, and you'll be left with something that looks a bit like this. So if you don't have one of these lying around, I can do some basic measurements. So it's 16 centimeters along this way. And then it's around 2 centimeters wide for this main body part, and then these end parts are 1 centimeter. So here and here 1 centimeter. You could put a popper on it if you wanted to. I wanted specifically not to do any sewing with these, so it literally just wraps around. And because of the nature of the felt, it kind of sticks to itself. I chose green for this particular one as it matches the rest of her uniform. And it fits all of the mother and grandmother sized characters. You could make the pattern smaller and so have it on some of the other sized figures, so the children and the babies. But that's the first item. Then I made these capes, and these are based on a pattern from Sylvanian storekeepers, and then I made it into 3 different sizes. So the original pattern was just for the babies, and then I kind of extrapolated the measurements upwards to make child and mother sized ones. So here's my pattern pieces just here. So this is the baby one. You can see it's a little bit rough around the edges where I've used it and accidentally nicked away at it. Here's the child size one and the adult size one. So this is obviously where the neck goes, and then it wraps around like this. I like to use kitchen roll, or I think they're called paper towels in America, to make patterns on, just because it's really flexible and very readily available and cheap. So I'll pop some measurements on these now. Here we go, so these are all in centimeters, and in case you can't read my writing, for the adult size across here is 14 centimeters, 3.5, 2.5 and 4.5. Then on the child size it's 8.5 at the widest part, 3 here, 3 here and 2 here. And on the baby size it's 5.5 across, 2 here, 1.5 here and 1 here. And then all you'd need to do is cut around your pattern. So the way that I was doing this, let's do it on the adult size because it'll be easiest to see, is folding the pattern in half, and then also folding the fabric in half, lining up the fold on the pattern with the fold on the fabric, drawing around it, cutting it out, and then that way you should be left with 2 sides that are symmetrical. So if we take a look at how it looks in person, So here's the one that I've cut out for the rabbit sister, and then it just goes down the back of the neck, across the top of the arms, round to the front, and then she's got her little hat which I put over the top of it, but then it comes down just past her dress in the back and comes up nicely in the front, so you could still pose her paws if you wanted to. And that's the little cape. If you want to see it in the tiniest size as well, here is that. Again, this one, her paw has been up, so it's a little bit bent out of shape, but just works in exactly the same way around the back of the neck and across in the front, and then it kind of sticks to itself like so. And then last but not least is by far the easiest of any of these. It's these scarves. So there's 3 sizes. If I just steal this one off Jolly here. So this is the adult size. There's then the child size. I'm trying to find the other end of it. And also the little teeny tiny baby size. So it depends what you kind of want to do with the scarf. The one that was on the Hawthorn brother here, I was having it wrapped around like this kind of style, so it didn't have the other end poking out. If you wanted to have both the ends poking out, you'd probably want to make it a little bit smaller. So the adult size is literally a rectangle, which is 15 centimeters by 1.5 centimeters. And you literally just cut a strip out of your felt. And then for these little bits here, just go up with the scissors and trim them in to make the little kind of fringing bits. And then on the figure, you can make it a little bit longer as well if you want, or shorter, depending. If you wanted to just have it kind of crossed over like this, you probably want to make it just a little bit shorter. But for this one, I wanted it to go back up and over his shoulder, like this. So he looks all nice and snug. For the child size one, the length, you'd probably just do the same. So 15 centimeters again. This particular one is 20 centimeters for the style that I'll show you in a minute. And this one is 1 centimeter wide, so just that little bit thinner, so it's easier to go around the children's necks. But this one has a non-fringed end and a fringed end. So for this style, I'm taking the non-fringed end, popping that at the front here, just under the chin, and then working the way around, being extra careful of those little whiskers not to trap them, covering up the non-fringed end, coming around and around, and then down like this, and then it's just got the one end kind of flapping in the wind, and because of the length it makes him look extra snuggly. It's just popping out there. It's a little bit hard to do it when I'm looking through the camera rather than actually at the figure. But that's that style, or you could do like Jolly's wearing and have the 2 fringed ends and just make it that little bit shorter. And then last but not least is the baby size. So I didn't do any fringing on this just because it's so narrow that it was just kind of falling apart. So this is just a straight rectangle. And the sizing on this is 8 centimeters by 1/2 centimeter. And because the babies are so small, this is plenty wide enough to fit around their little necks and come down like this in the front. And then obviously you can use whatever colours you like, matching them with the outfits, having them contrasting. Creativity can run wild, but that is how I made all these little outfits. If you have any questions or need any help, please feel free to ask me in the comments and I'll be happy to help you. And that's all for today's video. I hope you found it useful. Let me know if you make some for your Sylvanians. I'd love to see as well if you have somewhere where you post photos. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again next time. Bye bye for now.